327 athletes from Team GB will take part in the 2024 Olympic Games. How many gold medals, indeed any medals, can they bring home? Well, we can speak to someone who knows a thing or two about Olympic goals. She's won 5 of them in cycling. Let's speak to Dame Laura Kenny. Good morning.
Good morning.
So lovely to speak to you. Is it a bit weird not competing yourself?
No, not really. I'm quite looking forward to going out there with no stress, to be honest.
Give us a sense of what athletes will be feeling like now. The opening ceremony is approaching, the games are about to begin. Just give us an insight into how they will feel.
As a cycling team, we're always in the second week, so we wouldn't actually be there yet. We'd just be watching it on TV. But for anyone who does get to go to the opening ceremony, they will be feeling such a sense of pride. And I know we're saying that it's already started because some of the events, that have qualifications have actually started competing. But when you step out in front of a crowd and that opening ceremony starts, there is no feeling like it. And that really is the game's beginning. And for so many of these athletes, it's their first time, and so it will just feel really special to them.
What are Team GB's medal chances like in cycling this time round? Because without the likes of you, you were always, you and your husband, we could always rely on you to bring home the medals.
Thanks. But they're still just as good now as when Jason and I were competing. To be honest, I would say they could win more medals than they have done before. Like, I truly believe that. I think their target is something like 10 medals. But I would say they could achieve more than 10 gold medals if all goes to plan.
Gosh. Now, I was reading about Emma Finucane, who's got the possibility of winning 3 goals at one Games, which has never been seen before. Tell us about her.
Yeah, she is amazing. Honestly, she's only 21 and it's her first Olympic Games. And she's actually, whenever someone says, "Oh, who should we look out for?" I always say Emma, because I honestly believe that girl's talent is unreal. So she's competing in the team sprint, and keirin. She's world champion currently in the sprint. And they would have won the team sprint, I'm sure of it, at Worlds, had they ran their best team. She's just an athlete, that I've picked out as, someone who I believe we should all be watching. She's amazing. She's got her head screwed on. Like, she knows the minute she steps on the velodrome exactly what she's there to do. And you don't often get that with someone who's so young.
Who are the big other sporting nations that are going to press Team GB in cycling?
So obviously Australia every time, China, the Dutch. There's a lot of teams, to be honest, that you don't know what people are going to bring, like when you go to world championships, you sort of know what people are going to bring, but the Olympics is always really different. And so it throws it a bit more open, I guess.
Why are they different? I'm fascinated why are they different to Worlds?
It's just where the funding is. So lots of nations are funded based on Olympic medals. And so they're the ones that you're going to target a lot. And that's not saying, that's not taking anything away from world championships, but they do tend to be lots of nations' targets.
Such small margins as well in cycling, isn't there? It's so much of this is, I'm always fascinated to speak to elite athletes about kind of mental strength and mental preparation. And that is so crucial, isn't it, in achieving success?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And lots of these athletes, will work with psychologists. And like, just even so much as being able to bring your family over, that can really help people, But I like the Olympics, honestly, the atmosphere and stuff like that really brings something extra. And I also think that can have a benefit to these athletes too.
Because of course it's going to be totally different, isn't it? Because it wasn't even 4 years ago, was it? It was 3 years ago. And because of COVID, I was watching, I'm a huge fan of Simone Biles, and I was watching her latest the documentary about her on Netflix, Simone Biles Rising. And she was just talking about the impact, which I hadn't thought about, exactly as you just said there, not having family there. It was the first competition she'd been to and her family weren't in the crowd because the crowds weren't there. And you don't think about that as an outsider, the impact that could have on an elite athlete.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And like for me, I was so lucky that I was part of the London 2012 era because it meant that I had a home crowd. And NatWest have actually just commissioned some research for their travel reward credit card. And it actually has come out and proved that you're at 5% higher chance of winning a medal if you're in front of a home crowd. Now, imagine going to Olympic Games. You're not even in front of a home crowd. You're in front of no one and trying to compete at that. And I mean, for me, obviously, Tokyo, completely different to London or Rio. And there were so many athletes that came out and actually said, that was horrible. Like, this ruined my Olympic Games. I mean, Jade Jones in Taekwondo, she'd
Mm.
won twice. She'd won two Olympics in a row, went to Tokyo and then didn't achieve what she wanted to achieve. And she said, I just wanted my family there. And so this Games for Paris, that is as closest as you're going to get for home games. So for anyone going to these Olympics, it's just going to be so special.
How did you deal with that in Tokyo then?
I mean, we were very lucky because we were outside of Tokyo's major lockdown, because the velodrome was actually 2 hours away. So we stayed in a remote athletes' village just with the cycling team. So we actually had people there from Japan, like they were allowed to come in and watch. And so at least we had that. But I was a little bit gutted. Like, my parents travel the world to watch me race. And so to not have them there, I was gutted. And I really wanted Albie, our little boy, there.
Mm.
But then we sort of got used to the fact, like, I accepted really early on, pretty much when we went into lockdown, to be honest. I accepted that, you know what, he's probably not coming and I'm just going to have to deal with that. And then once you're there, honestly, your focus is so much on performance that I pushed it out the way. I mean, as much as I say my parents, travel the world with me, they do, but I would say I've never really relied on them as
Mm.
such to make my performance happen. Like, my inner team within British cycling were the ones that helped my performance.
It's been lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care. That's Dame Laura Kenny.